I wanted just to comment and share a couple of thoughts on education, but really, in particular, a thought that's on my mind, and that is our system of pathways after high school. And I'll start by talking a little bit about what has gone on over the last year and a half, 2 years in Louisiana, what I consider our successes and what I consider our challenges ahead. But I'm really going to delve into what I think is a critical question for most states, but I think for our state in particular, because of the incredible dynamism of our economy and the opportunities and the challenges that poses for the young men and women leaving our system as well. So I'm going to spend a lot of my time on that, but I will start by just talking a little bit about education changes, education outcomes, and where that leaves us today. When I look back on the last couple of years, among the greatest accomplishments that I think our state, its educators, its principals, its superintendents, and school boards have achieved really rank in the following way. First of all, we are moving toward a time when Louisiana's kids truly are held to a standard whereby they play on a level playing field with kids across America. And I can't underestimate just how important it is that we can say that the quality and the aspirations of what's provided in our schools are the same in Louisiana as they would be in Oklahoma, as they would be in Massachusetts, or anywhere else. That is a testament to the commitment of our educators to putting our kids on a path to a middle-class life, and a testament to our state that it's willing to step up and be competitive with states across the country, whether it's the Common Core state standards, whether it's using the ACT to measure our students' career and college readiness, whether it's using advanced placement as a national bar for whether our kids are ready for college. We are putting our kids on a level playing field, which makes them competitive in the global economy that they're going to inherit, an economy that will not be kind to those who can't compete. And it's incredibly important that we defend and stand behind that aspiration for our students. Secondly, I'm incredibly proud that we have instituted a process by which educators in our state are, yes, accountable for outcomes, and I think that measurable daily accountability for educators, myself among them, is critical. But if you're going to hold people accountable for the results of their jobs, which in our world is student achievement, you have to empower them and give them the tools to do their job. You have to trust them to do their job. And I think the great challenge, or one of the great challenges over the course of the next couple of years, is not just accountability, but truly seeing through on that promise to trust. That we trust our educators to do their jobs. That's why we want to remove requirements and have removed requirements around basic curricular decisions that teachers should be making. It's why we want to remove all of the boxes around labor and spending that have hemmed in our superintendents and principals over the years, so that the people that we're holding accountable, our superintendents, our principals, our teachers, are not only accountable for outcomes, but also are given the freedoms, the support, and the tools necessary to do their job. We've got to return to a time when we trust teachers to do their job, not just hold them accountable and then tell them how to do their job. That's not respect for these professionals. And I think that is one of the great challenges that we have in front of us. Third, we have offered unprecedented levels of choice to the families of our state in the education of their children, especially families who historically have been disenfranchised and oftentimes not been the ones that are offered the cutting edge or the higher end of what is available in their local communities. That starts with schools, the lowest performing schools, the results that we've seen in the turnaround effort in New Orleans, where kids have gone from 23% proficient on state tests to now 58% on those very tests over a 5-year period, where the graduation rate now tops the state average, and among African Americans it tops the national average. We've seen good outcomes with the Recovery School District in New Orleans. But it goes beyond that. It goes to choice for all Louisiana families in not just the kind of school you attend, but the kind of courses that your kids are able to take day to day. Not every kid is the same. Kids are wildly different in terms of their interests and their passions. And they should be able to choose an array of courses that don't confine them to the four walls of their school building, but that offer them a gateway to the path that they want to take in life. And that's why I'm so excited about our First Choice program, the first of its kind in the country, where kids are able to take career preparation as well as college preparation courses that suit their needs and interests, rather than being confined by whatever the school was able financially or facilities-wise to offer. Those are good steps that we've taken together, and continuing them is important. And the results that are beginning to come in are a good sign. We're certainly not even remotely all the way there, but they are a good sign. We've been seeing an upward trajectory in the graduation rate in Louisiana for the past decade. This year, that trend continued, a full point's worth of growth in the graduation rate. Our literacy rates and our numeracy rates, early mathematics, have been improving as well. We saw an uptick this year, a continued uptick in elementary school math and English scores. And recently, we saw fantastic outcomes in terms of the opportunities that our kids are getting for the world beyond high school, which is what I really want to spend my time talking about here. 3,600 more students scored a college-going score in the ACT than did last year in Louisiana. We earned collectively more than 1,000 credits, 1,050 credits in fact, toward college by advanced placement test passage this year, as well, setting a new record, the nation's highest increase in advanced placement outcomes, and a new record in Louisiana for the number of advanced placement credits earned. These are incredibly positive developments. We have our educators to thank for them, our parents and our community leaders to thank for them, and it's a good sign that Louisiana is moving in the right direction and that we cannot let up. But I will tell you that along this journey, I have come and listening to kids in particular, and also listening to parents, listening to business leaders, listening to leaders in higher education, to see that across our country and across our state and in a lot of our parishes, we educators, by the way, all of whom are four-year college educated, if not master's and doctorate educated, all of whom have pursued a particular and singular path in our careers, may have become somewhat on board from a vision of the complexity that the world offers our kids when they graduate beyond the time when they're 18. That for all of the reforming and changing that we've done between the ages of 4 and 18, we in education are not yet fully embracing the idea of our accountability for life outcomes after the young man or woman is 18. The minute they walk across the stage. And this moment really hit me when I was in New Orleans at a graduation ceremony. You know, when you're the superintendent, you get to preside over the graduation ceremony sometimes and pass out diplomas and shake hands. And I was at one of our schools in New Orleans, this is a couple of years ago, and I was passing out diplomas and shaking hands. And I kind of thought to myself, who in this room really knows what's going to happen tomorrow, next week, or next year to all of these kids? And I thought about my own time when I was a high school teacher. You know, I still correspond, and Nancy and Barbara, those of you who have been involved in education very closely, I'm sure you do too, with a lot of the kids that I taught. But most kids, I taught hundreds of kids in a given year, most kids I don't keep in touch with. And I'm sure as with you, if you've been a parent, obviously, but even if you've been a teacher, you have nothing but the fondest of memories of them, well, mostly fond memories of them, and you certainly hope for all of them that they're having a prosperous life. As members of our middle class, they will provide for their family. My oldest kids, I'm stunned to say, are now well into their 30s that I taught before. And I just always think about it. I wonder where a lot of them are. I don't keep in touch with them. I keep in touch with some of them, but not all. And what I realize is we are not really, as a K-12 education system, accountable for what exactly that diploma means. Does that diploma truly offer every Louisianan who earns that diploma a concrete path to something else? And so my team and I started doing a little bit of digging. In spite of all of these changes, we did a little digging into what's actually happening to these kids. And let's talk about some of the numbers that have led us down the road of our thinking about our diploma system and where we are today. Well, first of all, Louisiana, and I know this fact gets repeated all the time, but I, most recently in New Yorker, find this absolutely fascinating. Louisiana, 81% of the citizens, the residents of Louisiana were born in Louisiana. We were just talking about Markman's Parish. Everywhere you go in Louisiana, people were born in Louisiana. It has the highest rate of local residents who were born within the state of any state in America. Anybody can guess what the lowest is? I know, Randy, you probably know too. Florida. It's Florida, 37%. New York City, our most recent place of residence, by contrast, 33% of the residents weren't even born in America. Here, 81% of the residents were born in Louisiana. It's a tremendous statement about the nature of public education and the need for education reform to be about Louisiana. We need a Louisiana-specific reform because more than any state, we produce graduates who end up living, being educated, and working in Louisiana more than any state. So let's talk about what happens to this kid. Well, 19% of them who enter our high schools go on to earn 4-year college degrees. 19%. That's a fifth. Now, we need to raise that number. That is a low number for all the rest of the country. We need to raise that number unquestionably. But only a third of Americans, roughly, have a four-year college degree. And so that leads me to ask, well, what's happening to the other 80%? Because the other 80% also has to compete in an economy in our state that is increasingly technical in nature. Of our state's jobs, more than 50% today, nearly 60% over the course of the next 5 years, will require an education after high school. It's not a high school dropout economy, but it's also not a high school graduate economy. It's the economy of the transportation industry. It's the economy of complex manufacturing. It's the economy of oil and gas. That's our state's economy. We need a Louisiana-specific education reform if we're going to meet that economy. And so we're going to get into, if you're not going to a four-year college, what kind of career education are you getting for a technical workforce? More than half of whose jobs require some education after high school. And here's what we learned. First of all, on the career diploma track, remember in Louisiana we have 3 diplomas. On the career diploma track, I have 175,000 kids. Only 2,000 are on the career diploma. And out of that 2,000, only 171 this year graduated. The career diploma is tiny. The career diploma has become a dropout diploma. And when you even dig into what career path those kids are actually studying, 70% of their career certificates given in our high schools in Louisiana are in Internet Explorer, Microsoft Office, and customer service. Those are retail jobs in the mall. Those are call center jobs. Those are not jobs in health and hospitals. Those are not jobs in construction engineering. Those are not jobs in oil and gas. They're not jobs in transportation, shipping, logistics. Those are the core industries of our natural resources economy. And our kids are not being prepared for it. And so it causes me to reflect on the 80% who are not getting a four-year college degree. We know that we need to decrease that number, but what are we doing for the kids who are not getting a four-year college degree? Given that most of our jobs require something between a high school education and a four-year college degree, what are we doing? And my conclusion is that we need to reform our diploma structure, or our economy and our young men and women's participation in it is at great risk. Growing inequality in our state and our country, which is a fact, both in terms of income as well as in terms of access, is being propagated by a system that is a one-track system, but doesn't have the outcomes that it seeks to have at the college level. We've got to change this, and I think we can by changing our diploma system, and it is the thing that we are singularly most focused on for this upcoming year in our agency. I think we can do 5 things for this Louisiana-specific reform to provide kids opportunities in Louisiana's economy. Number 1, we need to end the caste system of diplomas in our state. You talk to any parent, any grandparent, certainly any student, about whether they want to be on a career diploma, and the answer is an unquestionable no. You ask them what diploma they want to be on, they want to be on a core diploma, 4 years of social studies, 4 years of science, 4 years of English, 4 years of math. They want the college prep diploma. They want the TOPS diploma. And it's a good thing that we've got that. Most states don't have that. It's a good thing we've got a rigorous college preparatory diploma. But in a state where only 20% of the kids are receiving a four-year college degree, that more than 3/4 of the kids are pursuing the four-year college diploma track with no viable alternative to it, strikes me as a problem. And so it's not a surprise that the kids, when asked about technical education, will tell you that that is not for the smart kids. That's not for the achievers. And in doing it, creating a caste system, we create a stigma around career education that dates back 2 generations of education reform. And we have to change it, both for the viability of our economy and for the opportunity to access the middle class of our kids. We need one Louisiana diploma, not a 3-part caste system of diplomas in our state. 2, when you make a choice as to the pathway that you're on, you should always be able to move on to another path. I'm going to get a little wonky about education policy here, but the fact is, and Nancy knows this well from your work at the Career Academy, if you choose to be on the career diploma today in 8th grade, you cannot get off that train until 11th grade. Well, guess what? When I drop out of diploma, that means you're already on the path to dropping out. You can't choose to get back on the college track, even if you want to get back on the college track, if you're on the career track. And if you choose to be on the college track, there is no reason why you would ever be relevant and be on the career track. Even to do both, you can't do both in Louisiana right now. It's a problem. We cannot have a system where a 12-year-old makes a life-altering decision about his academic future. We need a one diploma where kids can move back and forth from one pathway to the next because adolescents' interests, passions, and abilities change on a daily basis, as anyone knows who's raised them or educated them. 3. Just as with early childhood, where we're trying to end the silo between child care, Head Start, and pre-kindergarten, and I could talk all day about that subject too. We need to end the 3-part silos of our workforce development system. We have a technical college system that is set up to educate people in a technical environment. We have a high school Carl Perkins funded system that is set up to educate kids in the Carl Perkins environment, and we have an entire corporate sector that trains young men and women to be participants in the workforce of today's technical economy. There is no reason when we are strapped for cash that we shouldn't be doing more sharing, that we shouldn't accelerate the time to degree for our young men and women so they can get an associate's degree while they are in high school. They can get an industry-based certificate while they are in high school and be ready to work when they're 18. So they're earning a wage and paying taxes rather than taking out loans. We should be accelerating the path to a credential rather than slowing it down by a siloed system that too often is about institutional self-preservation and not really about what's best for the kid. We need to break down those barriers between the corporate sector, the higher education sector, and the K-12 sector. Send the kid to the class that is best to be prepared for the technical workforce, not just to the class that happens to be in the school where he's in that day. 4, we need to fund early childhood, we need to fund career education, we need to fund early childhood too. We need to fund career education, and we need to create accountabilities that give incentives to schools to have their kids be rigorously prepared for the workforce. We will not succeed in reversing the stigma of career education today if we do not fund it appropriately and if we do not give points in our accountability system to schools who get kids employed in high-growth, high-wage jobs. The MFP today provides a rate of 6 cents on the dollar for every career course you take. You could be taking typing, you could be taking welding. It gives you exactly the same points. When we know it is 10 times more expensive to educate a kid to buy the equipment for welding than it is to buy the equipment for typing. We've got a TOPS tech system that provides a scholarship for high school kids and post-high school to attend technical colleges. Only 500 students in an industry-based, natural resource-based economy, only 500 students in Louisiana last year pursued TOPS tech colleges. We have a scholarship system to go to technical colleges, and kids don't take it because of our policy systems, they don't work. In our accountability system, you can get 110 points for some sort of industry-based certificate, but you can get 150 for really good college preparation. We've got to change that. If you get somebody who's on a path to a strong middle-wage job in a high-wage industry, you should be given points in your accountability system for rigorous career education, and we need to change it. If we don't change the funding and the accountability, this change will not happen for a Louisiana diploma and a Louisiana-based education reform. And finally, the most important, our parents and grandparents is where too often the door is closed regarding technical education. Like many of us in the room, we've been educated to believe that there is only one path forward toward a living wage in the American middle class, toward providing for your family, and that is college. And that is done for all of the right reasons. But the definition of college is changing. The line between white collar and blue collar is changing. And it's important, therefore, that we change our generation's preconceived notions about the only path to success, which today has been to go to LSU or UVA or Tech or UNL or wherever it happens to be. You can have a great, prosperous path to the American middle class through a variety of pathways. Through marketing, through counseling, we need to educate not just our kids, but also our parents and grandparents about the possibilities in an economy that we have not educated them to be aware of. And second, we cannot put all the burden of counseling for careers on the shoulders of our school-based counselors. I taught high school with more than 3,000 kids. We had 8 counselors. On any given day, kids were having challenges at home, kids were having challenges in the juvenile justice system. Who do you think took up the attention of our counselors on a day-to-day basis? It was those kids, which is totally right. But we need real career counseling because today's world is complex. And to come out of high school when you're 18 and inherit that level of complexity, We need counselors. We need support for our counselors. We need organizations just beyond our counselors, like Career Compass, to help us do some of the counseling work to support our kids in making these choices. We're not remotely done yet in conceiving of this system, but I do believe, after speaking with educators, parents, and kids across the state, that this idea of a single diploma that has multiple ways to achieve readiness, opportunity, and access to the Louisiana middle class, in Louisiana reform, Louisiana's economy, and Louisiana's kids, is absolutely critical if we're going to deliver on our promise of education reform. We have to be more accountable when we hand that piece of paper to the kid across the desk for knowing that it actually means something. And I fear today too often that those kids walk across that stage, get that piece of paper, we don't see them again, and we don't really know what we've just credentialed them to do. The data show that. Our anecdotal experience indicate that, and we need to change it. We'll be issuing the policy blueprint in September in response to the statewide tour that we just did on this issue. We'll be then going out on another statewide tour, October and November, take this issue on the road and talk more with educators, parents, and kids, as well as business and higher education about this issue. And in the spring, we will bring to the legislature a package of policies, financial accountability, as well as curricular reforms and diploma reforms to help make this a reality. So that over the next several years, parishes across our state, parishes by the river, are ready to go and do this work today, like Ascension. Parishes are ready to be years out, but they can begin this work today and be ready for 2016, 2017, so that we can be ready to truly institute courses to help our kids access the American middle class. This is something I think Louisiana will be proud of. It's something that is specific and badly needed for our state, and something to which I'm going to generate or dedicate great energies over the course of this year. I thank you so much for taking the time. School's coming back this week, so please be sure to thank your teachers and in your communities, and I appreciate really the opportunity to be here. I look forward to questions from the meeting. Thank you.